Marble floors. Oh, you set up the thing? Nice. Nice. Huh?
I didn't know the class was at 9 until 8 o'clock.
9 until 8 p.m.?
No, that was when I found out the class was going.
Oh, yeah. Because you're dirty more.
I almost went to the library
Peace.
too because I checked on like Instagram and I was looking at the whole.
Nah, you gotta go to the website.
Are you guys one of those dictionaries over there?
No, I wasn't. I was not going to. I'm gonna get. What elevator? Oh, that one? You are official. You're officially here, so. Volume 88. Volume 88. Do-do-do-do-do. Is there a secret code? See the scales of Libra? That was so sweet. She was amped. Peace Moors, peace Muslims, peace Moabites, peace Canaanites, peace Phoenicians, peace Anunnaki, peace Sumerians, peace. Peace. Peace, 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 peace. Just getting some books ready. Waiting for everyone to show up. Everyone's used to class being at 10:30, so now that we did 9, everyone's all confused. So, today, we're going to be talking about mortgages, debt pledges, do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, I'm slamming books.
It's heavy.
Heavy is the crowd that lifts the law books. Let's see. Peace. Peace, peace, peace. Let me see. Rise of the Moors.org. I didn't have to type images. Most people don't know that when you're dealing with mortgages, you can enforce the rights of indigenous people. And most people don't know that the reason why, one of the reasons why a consulate is necessary and consul courts are necessary is because as we're waking up, well, technically our people are considered wards of their court. And when we're wards of the European courts, we get robbed. So once we establish our courts, as our people are learning, since we have our people's livelihood in our best interest, they become wards of our court, and we're going to do whatever is necessary to get them out of whatever the Europeans put them in. But people don't see that. And people don't know that when our people don't put things in trusts, all of their things go to probate court because you're doing business in the Europeans' name, called a straw name that they forced on us at so-called birth. So everything that we think that we own when we're doing business in that name actually belongs to them because it's their name. And then they're the administrators of that because that thing is an artificial person. And then you, the living man and woman, is deemed incompetent, so you're a minor. So they're doing things in your benefit, but it's really the strong name, and they just need your signature. And you know, it causes a lot of mental anguish. So why not just have people who know what the game is help you? We're going to go into some of that. Then we're going to go into the rights of indigenous people. Then we're going to go into reading a person's actual mortgage to see what it says, to see how they're tricking us. well, they're not really tricking us because we agreed to it, but since we don't know how to read, we are giving up our own stuff for nothing. And then when you read the Rex 84 plan, it talks about how Mr. Rockefeller's, or whatever his name is, energy discovery, the people trade their real wealth for a promise to get rich later, which is the promissory notes and the blah, 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 blah. Reconnecting. So, I'm not sure how long we should wait. I already started.
You already started, Janae's outside, as soon as she walks in, you can begin.
Coolio.
Why, is anybody else coming? Do you know of anybody else?
I have no idea,
on their
but we
way?
got 11 people on live right now.
That's more than what we should be waiting for. Janae's outside, when she comes in, we begin. Unless somebody else is on their way.
That
Someone
sounds
just texted. I gave them the address. I don't know who that was.
Oh, that was what my phone was.
Foreclosure, the discovery. All right, let me see this Corpus Juris Secundum, volume 88. I do. Law supersedes fact. Next. Corpus Juris Secundum, volume 88. What is it? 39. I do. 39. Issues of law and fact.
Did you send the address to him? 250 Benefit?
250 Benefit Street.
I think it was.
Is everyone still live? Is it still? Is it, I can't even go see the comments. There we go. Top of the morning, peace. Is the live still working? Please let me know. Please let me know. Please let me know. Because I don't want you to just look at my bald face. Is that thumbs up a yes? Because on my screen it says reconnecting. And then the chat is kind of disappearing. Yes, all right, cool, great. So for this class, you're gonna need a copy of the so-called state constitution. We're going to be using the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. We're going to be using Corpus Juris Secundum, volume 88. We're going to be using Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition. We're going to be using Foreign Treaties, General Index, United States Statutes at Large. This deals with, yeah, we are at the Supreme Court / Superior Court, 250 Benefit Street, Providence, Rhode Island, 8th floor at the Law Library. So this book is the United States at large, Public Statutes at Large of the United States of America, from the organization of the government in 1789 to March 3rd, 1845, arranged in chronological order with reference to the matter of each act and to the subsequent acts on the same subject, and copious notes of the decisions of the courts of the United States, construing those acts and upon the subjects of the laws, with an index to the context of each volume and a full general index to the whole work in the concluding volume, together with the Declaration of Independence and the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution of the United States, and also tables in the last volumes containing lists of the acts relating to the judiciary, impost and tonnage, the public lands, etc., edited by Richard Peters, Esquire, Consular at Law. Volume 3. We're going to be using that. We are going to be using this, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. We're going to be using, referencing this book, The Discovery of America and Outgrowth of the Conquest of the Moors by the Spaniards. Using that. We're going to be using The Crescent Obscured, The United States in the Muslim World, 1776 to 1815 by Robert Allison. We're going to be using this, or referencing it at least. Now I might not actually reference the book, but the information the reason why I'm saying the things that I'm saying is because I have information from these books. You know what I'm saying? the Quran, the Great Quran of Muhammad. We are going to be referencing Ancient and Modern Britons by David McRitchie, Volume 1. The Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan van Sertima. And we are going to be using Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. We're probably going to be referencing my book. Are You Confused About Law? This kind of has damage on it. So it's my traveling law. Are You Confused About Law? You can get it on riseofthemoors.org. We are going to be referencing this writ called Foreclosure Writ of Discovery that is provided on riseofthemoors.org. And Ancient Mystic Oriental Masonry by R. Swinburne Claimer. What happened? Is it foolish?
Swinburne?
Swinburne? Swinburne? Dirty swine. Do you know where everyone is? Sleep?
Let me call their moms, because I'm on the.
Yeah, call their moms.
Mom committee.
Oh, you are on the mom committee? I knew it. That's why I asked. That's why.
Everybody's mom.
That's why I
Everybody's
asked,
drafted off.
and that's why I asked, because I know that you would know specifically and specifically where they
Specifically.
were. Yeah, specifically.
Where everything is.
Yeah, you know specifically where everything is. Yeah. Call him. Yeah, he has all the answers. So since no one is here except for us,
Hi, we're no one? Damn.
I said except for us.
Wow.
Boom.
Wow.
Bloody nose. All right, so we're gonna start with the things to be read at every meeting.
This is not a meeting, this is gathering now.
Oh, it's not a meeting; it's a gathering.
Yeah, now someone else throwing jabs.
Right?
Jabs.
I'm saying, we should just go, because, I mean,
This is
Bye.
not formal, it's not a meeting, man.
Well, it can be.
All right, so
Why, you're here.
It's not enough people.
mortgages,
Yes.
foreclosure.
Big ass book up over
To be read at every meeting.
you're late.
Caveat emptor. What does
Yes.
caveat emptor mean?
there. Everywhere.
May the buyer beware. Can you expound on that?
It's your duty. I'm sorry. Does somebody else want to answer?
No.
Your
Yes.
respons. Okay, go ahead.
No, but we want to.
It's your responsibility to investigate what you're buying into.
It's your responsibility to investigate what you're buying into. Yes, it's a great way to put it. She smuggled food in here.
I would have brought my cherry.
Also, when I see caveat emptor, I think about. I always reference this quote from the Bible where it says, "Observe all things which I commanded you, and lo, I'm with you always." If you just inspect what you expect, you'll see the truth. If you observe nature, you'll see the truth. Like, the condition of our people is not necessarily ideal to do certain things, even though we have the knowledge on how to do certain things.
Mhm.
It's just the condition that we are in as a people does not suit that. So caveat emptor, use your brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of Moors will say, well, what do we do about deportation? These Europeans, deporting these Europeans. Well, do you even know who your government officials are? Because if you're going to deport someone, you got to have government.
And if they're asking you, did they check to see if you're government?
That's an example.
Yeah, they just want to change.
They did need the text.
It did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Did you get the message that we're gonna be doing it on the website from now on?
I did.
everyone did.
But I still ignored
You
it.
were expecting the text.
Did they just
No, not that I was expecting a test.
No,
A text.
they're-
I just assumed that it was
Yes, you were.
They're like,
10:30.
they're like, where are we meeting up? So, oh, and by the by,
By the by, not by the way.
by the by.
By the by. Down here in Mississippi.
By the bayou.
By the you.
Mississippi, Mississippi
By
Mound
the
Builders.
bayou. This is the last Saturday.
Yeah,
that
they told
are-
us.
Okay.
Until September.
Yes.
the last
And
Saturday of what?
he also said,
Make sure you.
I'm his favorite.
What?
More?
So,
Downstairs?
yeah. He
So-
said he'll let
so-
me in on the
So
slide.
you're proud that a European said that, you
He'll-
dirty,
he'll let
filthy,
me in on the
sleazy,
slide.
you sleazy Moor COINTELPRO.
Unplug
All right, I'm gonna read the things we
Oh
read
no,
every
it's
meeting.
gonna die.
People,
God damn it.
people.
I had everything open already. I'm
I'm
sorry,
gonna
I
read.
forgot you were live. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we live. We got 21 people.
You're
so-
live? You didn't tell me this whole time.
Alright.
Yeah, wait.
Look, these dirty people don't want to. They don't want me to be live. They don't want you to get this info. They
God,
don't want
you
it.
over there talking comfortably like this is private.
Yeah, real. All right.
I'm ripping on you. Dang, no wonder you said it, because I usually rip and everybody's like, yes, we agree.
Wow. Look, they saying LOL,
Well, I
they
had to open
laughing.
everything
They're
back up
laughing?
because
Yeah,
this
they
one had to
laughing.
unplug my laptop.
Oh,
Sorry.
peace. Peace. No, they ain't laughing at me. They laughing
I was
with
all
y'all.
set up.
Excuse me, anybody that's watching that's supposed to be here, get your butt here now.
You heard?
You heard the
Mother
mom.
said it.
You
All right,
heard
so-
the Empress.
Yeah, the Empress. Empress Naimiro. All right, so to be read at every meeting, right? Moors are men. We already know men, M-E-N, does not mean masculine. It means to think. Men means to think. Brother McCall and I were talking about how when we were doing what we were doing Friday, right? Yesterday was Friday, right?
Yesterday, yeah.
When we was going downtown talking to the Moors. Well, the people don't know they're Moors. You know, some of them did know, but talking to our people downtown, we would be more inviting if we had more women with us. But, you know, Joelle's pretty huge.
Pack of men.
My face, yeah.
Have you heard about your Savior?
Have you heard about the Lord and Savior, Prophet Uncle Charlie? You want to get out of this mortgage? You want to get the European off your back?
You guys, I mean, the barbershop,
Yeah, the barbershop was cool.
That
That's
was the
a
place
man's
for y'all.
that's a man's environment.
Yeah, yeah.
But then we had to hit the streets too. The prophet said the hedges and the highways, not just the barbershops.
Yeah, people.
Good?
You gotta put up some "We Want You"
Yeah.
same type
Yeah.
posters because
Yeah.
we want you.
Looking all
Morris.
mad. So my face looks angry all the time. Joel is huge. Huge. Macau's the only approachable one, and he's old.
Yeah.
No one,
Walking around looking
no
like
one wants
a
to talk
street
to old
militia.
people. Yeah, like a militia. But you know,
Young
some
people
people did
running
walk
away.
up to us. And,
Yes, we had some.
was it men, mostly?
Well, mostly men walked up to us.
Some
We had a few
females.
interactions with some women,
Older.
and we were very gentle. Except for that one woman on Broad Street. She was pretty young.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
And we try to be gentle and stuff like that, but we're dudes, so it's kind
Yeah,
of
it's hard.
So we always have to be clear that when this says Moors are men, this isn't a movement just for males. Also, when we went downtown, a lot of the Moors were excited that we weren't pushing religion. Like this one older guy, he was 60. He said, "So this isn't religious at all?" I'm like, "Well, you can be a Moor and be a Christian and be a Muslim and be a Buddhist. You can be whatever you want, but you're still a Moor. We're not here to preach religion. That's on you. That's your private stuff. But this law stuff, this affects all of us." So the people were excited about that. I wouldn't say excited, but they
It's a
noted it.
relief.
They
Some of them
noted it
were.
and they
What about the
enjoyed it.
lady we seen who said,
She was looking for us.
I've been looking
Yeah.
for more.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This is what the lady said. I've been
It's-
looking for Moors around here.
It's surprising that we're here, where it's not like we're hiding. We walk
Yeah.
around with fences on.
Yeah, all the
We
time.
do stuff, and then like how it's surprising to know like people still know we're here.
Yeah.
I don't think that lady
In our own
uses
area.
online. I don't think she's on.
The
internet.
interwebs.
She's like, what is that? All right, so Moors are men, upright. And when I think of upright, I think of like posture. 'Cause a lot of our people be slouching and they just look miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Independent and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. Do we want to break that down? Moors are upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. What do y'all think about that?
The people that use our morals and good standards.
You said people that use morals and good standards? As, like, give me an example.
Dealing with each other like family.
Dealing with each other like family. Well, a lot of people have dysfunctional families, so what does that mean?
Dealing with each other with respect,
With
with
respect,
love,
love,
truth, peace, freedom,
peace,
justice.
freedom, justice, dignity,
Mhm.
honor. I think, like we talked, like a lot of so-called black people, a lot of Moors,
Mhm.
we got this European type mindset where we kick our children out the house at 18 years old,
Yeah.
and then now they're struggling on their own, while these Europeans stay home until they got their business up and running, funded by their dad or whatever.
Mhm.
That's very much an American thing. We go to
Well,
other
it's not an
countries.
American thing. It's a European mindset that we've adopted. I think we also need to separate the American from the Europeans, because we accept like the Western culture when it's not our culture. It's European Christian culture that we've adopted. And once we like study more, we'll see that that's exactly what it is. But I agree with you, and the spirit of what you meant, not what you exactly said, but I agree. I also think that I just think there's a lot of stigmas on men and women, like what men are supposed to be and what women are supposed to be.
True.
And I think from a young age, that's when they target us. They say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think that's a false question, because you can only be you. You can't be like anyone else, or you can't be anything else but you.
And why are we even limited to one thing?
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking yesterday how we have so many aspects to our personality, and then when we exercise those things, we get labeled crazy or something like that. This is deep. Now, when the prophet says, we care for our loved ones, and we follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown, what does that mean to you?
Not uncertain, not unknown.
So it says, Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown.
Where this movement is supposed to bring us to,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that somewhere is ancient times.
Yeah.
Where we all
We
had
all
our
know.
own freedom.
Yeah.
People, for the most part, were good.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
It's like there's nothing new under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already been through this cycle.
Yeah.
We just got to get it back to.
Yeah. So when I read that, I see like a lot of like the Christian church and the mosque and stuff like that. There's no direction. It's just come here, get the word, pray, sing, dance, go home, and you just repeat that cycle.
There's no end game.
Yeah, there's no end. It's just that cycle. With this, I see, because Noble Drew Ali talks about those who stand for a free national government. There's a difference between a national government and a federal government. The national government is us taking care of ourselves and managing our own affairs. That's what I see. I see that as the destiny. Us taking our lives back. Because that's what everyone desires, so it's definitely not unknown. And he said it. Take your place amongst the affairs of men. You know what I mean? Bring our people back into the constitutional fold. That's what it is. That's the way I see it. And it's not like a big secret where, yeah, we're getting all this information and then what? No, he gave us this. He said the glory of the king is the welfare of his people. So if our people got mortgages on their backs, then their welfare or their quality of life is low. So it would be your job, your debt, your obligation, your duty as a public servant, the king, to get that debt off the people's back. Just like what Prophet Yeshua was doing, he was getting the people out of oppression from the Romans, which is what we're dealing with right now. Same thing. And then Prophet Muhammad came to kind of solidify or finish up what Yeshua did. It's the same thing. And then when you look at what Prophet Muhammad did, where he united the tribes, the warring tribes, and then you look at Prophet Daganawida with the Iroquois Confederacy right here, North America, they say the 5 nations or the 6 nations, whatever. It's the same thing. The tribes were warring, and then they were unified. It's the same concept. Same.
Great peacemaker?
Yeah, the Great Peacemaker, yep. And then Hiawatha, and then you got the Hiawatha Wampum Belt with the 5 glyphs, and the 5 titles of nobility, and then in the middle of that glyph is the Tree of Peace, and then George Washington chopped down the cherry tree, his father's cherry tree, and we fathered them into government. It's the same thing. The same thing. And then Islam means peace, and the Iroquois law, the Great Peace, it's the same thing. Cool. Then it says, they are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such a realm. I think when you're fortified by those doctrines, you don't respond to emotional inclinations. Like we were talking yesterday, sometimes people will just say things to you so they can get an emotional reaction out of you
Mhm.
for destructive purposes.
Mhm.
That's what I think of when I see that. Anyone would like to add?
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you. They try and try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads like the sword old Damocles had. You want me to go into that?
Said it right this time.
Yeah, no. I've been saying it right for the past few times. Because I figured I was just throwing a petty party. But pronouncing it wrong just because someone said I pronounced it wrong, so I was just saying it to get
What was
them
the
know.
line?
It says, they try and try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads like the sword old Damocles had.
I think planning anything with bad intentions is bad planning.
So, I don't know if y'all heard this, but she said planning anything with bad intentions is bad planning. So it's not like, because a lot of stuff you can't really plan for,
Mhm.
like how we all got together.
Mhm.
There was no plan how we got together.
It's not
It
bad
just happened.
planning. That's just the way things fell into place.
Yeah, the universe.
For this
Yep.
to happen.
Yeah,
Because it wasn't a bad
So
plan.
because the intentions were
Mhm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And then in the Quran it says sin lies within the intent, not the act itself. Any more expounding on that?
You can't go wrong if you have
Good intent.
intentions.
Yeah, sincerity is the key.
I thought it's kind of sound like karma. Like
Karma?
karma.
Mhm.
You plan on doing something bad, it's going to be bad,
Yeah, it's
or
gonna
bad
hit you
will
in the
come
face.
to you.
Yeah, and actually speaking on that, that is great. Let's go into the Quran, because we're dealing with mortgages, and you know, Brother Ra got kidnapped. It says in the Quran, chapter 24, verse 29, it is no fault on your part to enter houses not used for living in, which serve some other use for you. And Allah has knowledge of what ye reveal and what ye conceal. So if you're going into that house with malicious intent, the universe is going to see that, and then justice must take its course, just like the prophet said.
Mm.
But we can use this because it's our religious right to go into abandoned houses not used for living, as long as we do it lawfully, meaning we know the difference between what squatting is and what adverse possession is. Because when you look up the definition of squatting in the law dictionary, it'll say unlawful. When you look up adverse possession, it'll say lawful. That's why they label our people squatters, because it's unlawful. And then we have to know that corporations can't own property. And then we have to know that a deed of trust is not ownership, mortgage is not ownership. And then remember when we went to City Hall and we asked for your property, and the European said, "Oh, you're looking for chain of title?" So these people know. It's just we don't know. So we don't even know what to ask for. So then they don't give us access because we don't ask the right questions. Is it omission? Is it a lie? Who knows? Right? Excuse me.
That's
Intrigue.
the same thing that.
Huh?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's the same thing that happened with the certificate of engagement.
Mm-hmm.
We were asking for oath of affirmation, and
Mhm.
a certificate of engagement is what they
What they
file
call
it
it.
under.
Yeah. So intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. You want to talk about that?
What was that? Say it again.
He said, intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment.
If you don't live your life and behave by the 5 principles, then people are not going to deal with you.
So it's the energy.
Yeah.
So you're saying, since the Moors are fortified by those doctrines, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and the Prophet just planned everything to the T. Like, when you read the stuff he wrote,
Mhm.
you hear me say it oftentimes, like, yeah, last night, I was like, the Prophet's a genius.
Mhm.
Like, everything he said covers everything.
Yeah.
You can't weasel anything out of this. You can't. Right? And then, that's why I think it said, intrigue and scurrilous cunning find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. And then when we were talking the other day, y'all was saying how women's intuition is just always on point. That's part of this. Like if y'all feel some type of negative energy from anyone, y'all are gonna know. So
It's probably gonna be true.
yeah. So if we're at this higher level in our consciousness, using our higher mind and our higher self, then we automatically spot someone in the lower self. So it's kind of like you can't really be part of this chamber, but we can still talk to you. Just
Yeah.
you're not voting on nothing until you get to this level yet. You know what I mean? And it's not like this is a private group club. We know you are people, but you can't come here
You can't have
not
that
yourself.
position.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't come here not yourself, because then you're just gonna be destructive and you're not gonna know. That's what I think. Then it says his latent powers are abundant, unknown, and be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. I seen a video where Cujo said you can do something with like your hand, make it a diamond or something like that. Don't quote me on this because I'm not, I haven't been through the adept chamber, right? But he's coming, so we can ask him. He said, do something like put a diamond, and then put it to your forehead, and then put it on the ground or something like that, and then something's supposed to happen. I don't know, because I expect that you're supposed to do this in like a super dangerous situation. You don't just do it all willy nilly.
That's how the Muslims pray.
Yeah, that's how they pray. Yeah.
They use a stone too. They put their head on the stone.
Is it a stone?
They put a stone on the floor. They put their head, when they do that, they put their head on the stone on the floor. You know how they get on their knees.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they do. They put their head on the stone.
Mm.
I don't know what it means or what it does,
Yeah.
but that's part of what.
I think that's something we should look into.
Oh, we're gonna go visit today.
Yeah, we can visit. So we got invited to the mosque yesterday. We visited, and they invited us. Prophet Noble Drali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. What do you think about that? I think that's based on like what we just said. It's feeling out people's energy and just knowing.
I think that it's so entailed that in order for you to show up more than once shows you're interested.
Yeah.
Because it can be overwhelming fast. It can be a lot, and it's easy to just say, "I'm done. I
Yeah.
can't."
The
But
spirit
for you
is
to
strong,
keep
but the
coming
flesh is
back,
weak.
even though it's hard and it ain't easy.
Yeah.
Shows that this is where you need to be. This is where you want to be. If you keep coming back, then it's for you. Because it ain't easy.
I don't think it's easy, but I also don't think it's too difficult.
No, yeah, you're right. It's simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
It's simple. But
Keep it simple.
the
stupid.
simple is buried behind years and years and
Yeah.
years of books
Yeah.
and crap.
Yeah.
I think it's only as difficult as you make it. Because if
Yeah.
you
If you
if
overthink,
you understand, yeah.
if you overthink,
understand interests and just go with your interests,
yeah.
it's easy.
I remember I was working for Spencer Technologies and military, and had to wire up the store. And what they were telling me to do with the 66 block was so simple, but I was nervous and I was overthinking. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm the technician.
Yeah,
And I'm asking the person on the phone, what do I do? What do I do? Because I was overthinking it. And then the dude on the phone was like, why are you overthinking this? I was like, oh shit, I am. I've been doing this for years.
Just do the simple. Just do the simple.
Yeah. And then, like, that's really what I think pushes a lot of people away, because they have their own
It
doubts.
looks complex.
Yeah, it looks complex, and it seems like it, but
And they have their own limitations.
Yeah.
And doubts.
yeah, doubts. Yep, self-doubt. Like, I think that's it. Overthinking a lot of things.
That's what people tell me all the time. Well, I'm not smart enough. I'm not
Yeah.
as smart as you. Who said I'm smart?
Yeah. You're assuming that I'm smart.
Yeah.
I could be really dumb, and you don't know. I could be the smartest dumb person. You have no idea. Okay. They are the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. What does that mean to you?
They are the movement of the.
No, they are the vanguard
Mhm.
of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. Want me to say something?
What's the line before it?
The prophet, Noble Drali, knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the Moorish. Excuse me. They are the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. Whenever I think of that, my mind goes straight to Cujo. Straight to him, because he's always exposing everyone's dirty secrets, and then putting the truth out there To me, that's what a vanguard does. You see what he's saying? Reference this, and that, and then look at what he just said again. He's not, you know what I mean? He doesn't just like say F him. He'll show you, look at these books. I'm reading this from this person. This is what this person said, who's been around way before that person. That's what I think. And I think of like people like Taj Tariq Bey, who just been teaching. He's 72. I don't know how long he's been teaching, but there's some old videos of him out there.
Like 1980.
Then I think of like Brother Abdullah, who's like keeping the torch of etymology lit, which without it, none of this would make sense. I mean, there's a lot more people, but I think of people like them.
Oh, in front. I had to look up Vanguard.
Vanguard? Yeah, because they're out in front.
Well, you knew that because of your background. I was like, that whole thing was confusing to me. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
like, what exactly does Vanguard
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's why I didn't want to answer.
It says all of the Moors are active, not passive. What does that mean to you?
That we all actively work on something
Mm-hmm.
to better ourselves and to
Yeah.
better situations.
Yeah. Same.
Your actions define your allegiance and who you are.
If you ain't doing nothing, then you ain't
You ain't doing nothing.
you ain't really
To me, it's kind of like you can't have all of this info and then not do nothing. Like,
sit in your basement.
it's gonna destroy you. Like it will destroy you. Like you see all these people suffering. You got all this information. You're not gonna do nothing.
Well, to me, it's like, if you have all this information, and then you're choosing not to be a Moor.
Well, no, you're still a Moor. It's just you're a passive. You're not doing anything. You're still a Moor. Like your knowledge don't make you a Moor. Your bloodline does. What else we got? This is the first time we've ever done this. A member's interest can only be in one direction. And having traveled over the roads years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road. What does that mean?
He had to start just like we had to start. He had to beginning just like we have a beginning, and he went through this whole process to uncover what he's uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just have to follow his steps
Yeah.
and do the same. Because what it sounds like to me is like he did this.
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing, studying, finding, reading, studying,
Mhm.
and then putting it to use, putting it into effect.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Can I add in? I'll add in, then I'll read it again. The prophet said he was the other prophets, and he remembers that he was. So it's kind of like he's that same spirit. It's just another master return, well, the master returned to kind of put us back on track. So it's kind of like, just like we experienced deja vu. Like I've done this before.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what I kind of like he was all the prophets, so he kind of already knows the different levels of the people. So like none of this is new. Like he knows the people who are interested. He knows the people who are sincere. He knows the people who are just trying to get rich off of this. The people selling $5,000 packages to say you did a name change. Like what does that do? That doesn't change anything. It doesn't fix anything. That's what I think of. So I'll read it again. He said, a member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the roads years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road.
So, I'm sorry, were you going to?
I'm just gonna elaborate.
No, go ahead, because I'm about to go in a whole different direction.
It just seems like he understands all people from all walks of life because he was in every position.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, one, that must have been lonely, and two, maybe that's why he wasn't so judgmental, because he's been there
Mhm.
before himself,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's on their own path.
Mm-hmm.
We all end up in the same place eventually. It just takes some time.
All roads lead to Abraham, which means the activation of the pineal gland. Okay. Want me to read it again?
No, I was going to say, so if we're all reincarnated,
Mm-hmm.
including him, but he came back more aware, wouldn't he know where we all left off and came back to work on?
Makes sense. Like, remember we was talking a while back. Like, what if? Because a lot of people say we need the prophet back, we need the prophet back, but then in the Quran it says it's wrong to to want a
Yeah.
spirit who left to come back. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Right now we need a Tashri Bay. Right now we need a Cujo. So I was thinking, what if like in the ether plane, this is just my imagination, right? In the ether plane, like, you know, where our spirits are before we come here, Durali's up there saying, all right, you're going to come during this time, this cycle, because the people need you then. You're going to come during this cycle because the people need you then because of this, and this. You know what I mean? Like, what if it was something like that?
We absolutely are here for some type of
No,
reason.
yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
And if he planned everything, of course he would know where we are. He sent us here to do it.
Yeah. What else? Where we at? A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traders grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun.
Say that again.
So I'll read what he said. A member's interest can only be in one direction.
Yep.
And having traveled over the roads years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traders grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun.
Sounds like something we was discussing about before, that 20 people show up.
Mhm.
Not all 20 people are aiming in the same direction with their self or with the group.
Mhm.
Handful of them might just be here to see what they can get for 1 day or 2 days
Yeah.
and apply it into their life
So
and try to get a quick,
What you're saying kind of applies to the
Boost.
last paragraph too.
what's that?
What you just said kind of applies to the last line, like the last paragraph. But
Yeah. That's what caught my thinking in the last line of it.
Mhm.
People come and try to consume real quick a day's worth of whatever and run out and try to put it into effect, not for the right reason.
well, I meant this part. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, caveat emptor. So they catch scent, the info, they take it real quick, and then they do something, and then they're like, oh shit, come help, because they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah,
That's what I was
either
talking
they
about.
didn't- Either they're not in the right direction with everybody else, they're on their own path going into a direction that's not
Trying to be a
not
lone
true,
wolf.
not true,
I
or maybe
think
just
so.
trying to do truth, love, freedom, justice. You know, they're just
Mhm.
not on that. They're doing it for the wrong reason,
Yeah.
and they ain't 100% on what they're doing or how to do it. But just jumping out there into something that they think is going to be a quick game for themselves.
Yeah, a quick dub when our
I
nation's
think
under duress.
those are, again, those bad planners.
Bad planners?
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you, but I would agree that's a bad plan, but I
Not
don't think the
a bad
intention
plan,
is bad.
but planning bad.
Well,
Yeah, it was just
well,
a bad. I
your
thought- I think
intention was selfish.
so. I think.
Yeah, yep.
So that is bad planning.
I
That's
think so,
lower
too.
self.
Yep.
So,
Fail.
you're on the,
Fail.
yeah, you're on the road below. That's
Mhm.
lower self and
Yeah,
higher self.
yeah, you're exactly right.
Yep,
That's beautiful.
I agree.
So if you think you're
On the same road.
yeah, you think
with
you're
true
coming, so,
Moor.
because we're here to help everyone.
Yep.
We're here to help our families.
Mm-hmm.
But some people are here because,
Themselves.
yeah, because they want to get out of X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
Which ain't a bad thing. Everybody's here for the. Everybody
Yeah, but
needs
don't.
to
But
get
you
out of
can't
this.
just be
That
here.
can't be it. Right.
Yeah,
True.
you,
That can't be it.
your end all. Like once
Yeah.
you get what you need, you out.
Yeah.
That can't be it.
Yeah.
You know, everybody needs help. Two minds are better than one. 3
Mhm.
minds are better than two. 4 minds are better than 3.
And isn't that what happens though? People come here because they think it's a get rich quick,
Yeah.
and then they're just in a rush to.
Yeah.
Well, how do I claim my house? How do you're gonna get yourself wrapped up
You
like
know who
that?
you are first. How you
Mhm.
claiming anything?
And you didn't realize that you needed all of us.
Yeah.
Or
That's-
just to get them out of trouble,
Right.
or the
That's what
situation
happens.
they're in, and then
That's what happens. They don't realize that you need the group
you do.
because that's what gives everything we do power.
Unless you don't need a group, you got everything, all of this information, 100%.
Then where was you? Then where was you years ago? Then
You got a genie in the back.
Exactly.
where were you
Secret prophet.
years ago? I agree.
Other than that, we need each other.
I also like when they say they think they're on the same road with true Moors.
Mhm.
Like the people who've been putting in the work for years, someone will just mimic what they do real fast and then say, "Oh, well, I got this. You know, I'm the new person doing this now." like try to steal all the work that that person did, that person put in for years, which you cannot do. People think it's like people were saying that someone told me that they were jealous of me. And I said, well, you don't, like, I can only imagine how much, like, Taj 3 goes through, like, the weight on him. But people would just see he's well known, but they don't see the weight.
What it took to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think of.
I
Then
think
Hunt-
that's crazy for somebody to tell you that they was jealous of you.
Yeah, but I mean, he told me, but then he realized,
Yeah,
he corrected himself, is what he told me. Like, he explained the whole process to me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was just the beginning.
Yeah, he was just telling me that he was, and he sees, like,
Yeah.
he said, I realize you're your own man and I'm my own man. I just gotta find who I am. I'm like, yeah, that's what you gotta do. You can't do what someone else does, because then you're not you, and then your life sucks, because your spirit knows that you're not being you, and then you're trying to be someone else or something else.
Fighting you.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you're fighting yourself.
That paragraph that you just read about,
Want me to read it again?
no, it's okay. I was just making me think of the Masons who know all of this information
Mm-hmm.
and who think they're on the same road, or the
Mhm.
ones who think that they're doing good, because
Yeah.
there's like those Shriners who think, oh,
Yeah.
we're doing
Yeah.
great, and
Yeah,
they're on lower
yeah.
levels, so they really don't have any
Yeah.
idea of what's going
And
on.
that's part of the problem.
Right.
A good heart, well, you're ignorant, is dangerous. That's how I ended up in the Marines. I thought I was fighting for our people. Lo and behold, I'm serving Rome to fight against our people over there. I mean, I didn't go over there, but that's what Rome does. You know what I mean? So even with these, some of these community activists, they think by going to, Prince Hall Lodge and being a Mason and all that stuff, they think that they're doing something good. The problem is they're not. So I definitely agree with that. Like, there's two sides to the coin. Either you're greedy and you think you got something, or you really have good intentions and you're trying to be part of something because everyone's doing it, and then you realize, oh, these
You're
people are
being
dirty.
used.
Yeah. Or sometimes people don't even realize it, or they just shove it to their subconscious and they just keep doing it anyway because that's what it is.
Mhm.
That was a great point. Hungry scavengers flying high, kept scent, devouring leaf, crying out, caviar emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exist, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks await. We kind of talked about that earlier. People just
Yeah.
catching air real quick. I
Yeah.
can clean this, I can clean that. You can do whatever you want. But you might want to realize that we're under colonial occupation, and these people won't yield just because you go to court and say, well, I'm a Moorish American. And then they got 20 guards in there armed
What they
with,
gonna
a,
say?
with a magistrate who's robbing all
Yeah.
those other people in the room. They well, you know what, Moore,
You're
Mr.
right.
Bay, you're absolutely right. We're not judges. We was about to rob all these people.
Shut the
Have
whole
a good
thing
day.
down.
Everyone go home. You're not Negro, black, color. Go home. The Moors are right. They're not doing that.
Nope.
What they're gonna do is kidnap you, take you in the back, say you're right, case dismissed,
Go out
and
the
then
back
you
door.
leave, and then they rob those people.
Go out the back door.
Yeah, go out the
down
back
stairs,
door.
Take
Yeah,
a left.
yeah.
Take a right.
That's exactly what they did to me.
Don't forget,
You
Mr.
saw
Bay
that.
starts with a B, so you're gonna be one of the first ones up there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you think that's gonna go down in front of
I don't think
everybody?
it don't go
Yeah,
like
right.
that, though.
They do
I don't
not.
think it goes by
Take me to
name.
back.
Yeah.
I'll be the last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, they're gonna say the same thing. I don't care. Go sit down
Yep.
and shut up.
Yeah, but that's not for you. That's for the dummies.
Mhm.
That's for the people who don't know. Well, they ain't really dumb, but they're for the people who are ignorant, who just lack information. That's what that's for. And then they'll dismiss stuff in the background. All right. So to be proclaimed at every meeting, we're not going to decipher every line on this. Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. So this is around the time where the police arrested the prophet because some Moors got murdered, and they tried to put it on him, so he was in jail. And then there were Moors who were really with the prophet, concerned about his well-being. And when Cujo comes, he'll give us more information about that, because he knows more. So he said, I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation, that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so that they may take charge of the situation. Is everyone clear on that? That's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drali. To me, that's just proof that merit is what nature recognizes. I was telling the brothers yesterday at your house, like, y'all don't come to class just because I'm speaking out of my mouth. Y'all come because I'm showing you case dismissed, case dismissed, case dismissed, and I'm showing you. I'm not just saying, well, we can get stuff dismissed and then just run out my mouth. I'm showing you, and then I'm going to court with you. Merit, 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 merit. So, any other group of Moors talking about they're the Moors here. Where were you months ago when we've been doing this? Where were y'all at? What y'all get dismissed? Who'd y'all help? When did y'all do community outreach? When did y'all hit the barbershops? When did y'all hit the streets? When did y'all do any of this? Well, y'all the new ones out here now? Okay. Right. That's what I think of. When he said they're jealous of the fame and nobility, and the nations of the world will not recognize us without him being the head, because it's been proven by his work. So if our words, works, and deeds don't match up with his, we're not getting recognized. Because he laid everything out for us. So if we're not with him, who was the first, then clearly we're dirty or something. Then to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, this is the instructions from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you'll be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear. At least they would be confounded of their sins. When I hear that part, I think of the black and Indian leaders who've been saying that they're black and Indian for years, not showing any progress whatsoever. And then they got more speaking the truth and showing that what we're saying works. And then now they don't want to be part of it because then they got to deal with the years of lies that they've been spreading consistently and like vigorously.
Like
beating
signing
drums.
things under one name,
signing, yeah.
and then taking action under another.
Yeah, and then there's a paper trail where you can track how dirty
Mm-hmm.
or how dirty they've been.
Yeah.
Then they would have to go back and admit that they
Yeah.
were wrong
Yeah.
or lying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people are gonna hang them.
Their people.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
yeah.
our
Well,
people.
our
Yeah.
people are gonna hang them. Like, so you knew all this stuff. We see these so-called leaders coming in and out of this place.
Mm-hmm.
Where we are right now with all these law books that we're about to reference. In and out. But they ain't telling you that a mortgage is a dead pledge and any Indian title ain't ownership.
And we be doing deep investigation,
Yeah, we do deep.
finding things that they never wanted anybody to see.
Right. So, these are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving. They're trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. If your mind ain't sharp, the Europeans will hem you up. Because they'll see, oh, you're not in your right mind? We can F with this person. And they will, because that's what they do. But if you're sharp,
They'll do everything
They're
they
not-
can to throw you off your square
Yeah.
when you're up there.
Yep.
I've seen it.
yep. But if you're sharp, they don't. They'll poke, and then they'll get pricked. They're like, yeah, just send him over there. Put him in the corner, because he's gonna inspire those people.
Talk to him at the end. But no,
Yeah, we'll
listen,
deal with him when everyone's
They
asleep.
were
or something.
kicking people out of the courtroom.
Yeah.
You can leave now.
Yeah. Oh, the Moors are here. We'll call a recess. Oh man.
9 minutes into proceedings.
Yeah.
Recess.
The court just opened. The judge just sat down.
Recess.
Oh, can I get the attorneys up here, please?
I know. I'm gonna see if you can handle this amongst yourselves.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we're gonna call a recess and then get up and leave. Like, you're ridiculous,
Fuckery.
right? Excuse me. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your profit. Also, for those in the chat, comment where you're from so that people know. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest. The ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for good work. Peace. That last part reminds me of other Moors trying to say other temples are doing whatever. When in the Quran it says, salute. When in the Quran it says, you can have your own laws and customs in your own temples as long as they line up with the Grand Major Temple. So you can have your own laws and customs as long as you ain't violating what the Prophet laid out. So as long as we're not violating anything, these people have nothing to say, but then they'll say it anyway.
That's like the Constitution. Each state has their own Constitution.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't contradict the
The federal,
Constitution.
yeah. Welcome, late.
So you can have a white tassel. If
Yeah, you can have a white tassel because white means purity. The Prophet said it. White means purity, purity means God, God means rule of the land. So why can't we have a white tassel? Why can't you have a white vest?
That's not the way we do around here in these parts.
Well, those are those parts. Those are those parts. And these parts, we got the white tassel.
We don't take kindly to people that don't take kindly.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? In South Park?
Yeah.
We don't take kindly to people.
How you doing?
Peace. Welcome. So we're just going over the things to be read at every meeting, the things that the Prophet laid out. One of the last thing to be read. Prophet warns all Muslims. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. We are for peace and not destruction. What does that mean? We are for peace and not destruction.
This kind of sounds like our code of conduct,
What do you mean?
that we're for peace, not destruction. So he's warning everyone, like, when you speak, you're an ambassador for all of us.
Yep. You represent the entire nation, whether you like it or not. When I hear that, I think of, like, when we talk to a lot of our people, mostly the men, they'll say, we need to go to war with the Europeans. Well, they've been training their military for years. You just found out you're a Moor, and
Not
we've got a
years,
military, so who you fighting?
generations.
And they're
Yeah,
undefeated, right?
Generations. Well, yeah, because we've been fighting their war, so yeah, they're undefeated. We're undefeated.
It's a tough matchup.
Like, this is not a physical war that we're fighting. It's a mental one.
This war will be fought with information.
Yeah, information. Yeah. Like when you go to court, the only reason why everything runs smooth is because everyone believes that that person's a judge. Because it's just because they believe it. That's the only reason why it works. So you don't gotta fight them. You just expose them. You just teach people. Because once they're taught, they're like, wait a minute, you ain't a judge? You know what I mean? That's why whenever we say, well, let me see your oath, they don't want to hear it.
Yep.
They don't want us to say that in front of all those people and to the magistrate. Because they ain't a judge. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement, founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Then He says, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America, because then you will know who you are, who your forefathers were. Where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. This is a field open to all strong men and women who think that their conditions can be better. And he said, if the Europeans helping him and other nations, why not us? Because this is our problem. So how dare we just sit back on our lazy boy and expect everyone to do everything for us? And I think part of that is part of the Christian indoctrination that we've been taught. A lot of our people that have been taught that some pale-skinned Jesus is going to come from the sky and save us. When it says God helps those who help themselves, because the word God's a verb and it's something that you do. Because we are God on this earth. Right? Now, let's go into, we're going to put church today.
And the Lord said.
And the Lord said.
Peace.
We're going to go to, he's watching me on live?
That's how you knew he was here?
Yeah, exactly.
Chapter 29, magistrate and subject, page 41. Go to page 41 if you got your Quran. Open up your Quran to page 41. Magistrate and subject. O thou, the favorite of heaven, whom the sons of men, thy equals, have agreed to raise to sovereign power and set as a ruler over themselves, consider the ends and importance of their trust, far more than the dignity and height of thy station. So people are saying, well, I'm the chief of this. You have a responsibility. Stop just saying that you're a chief or a sheik or a reverend or a pastor or whatever. You have a responsibility. Thou art clothed in purple, and purple represents royalty, right? And seated on a throne. The crown of majesty investeth thy temples. The scepter of power is placed in thy hand, but not for thyself were these signs given. Not meant for thy own, but the good of thy kingdom. The glory of a king is the welfare of his people. His power and dominion rest on the hearts of his subjects. The mind of a great prince is exalted with the grandeur of his of his situation. He involveth high things, and sacreth for business worthy of his power. He calleth together the wise men of his kingdoms. He consulteth among them with freedom, and heareth the opinions of all of them. Meaning this ain't no you know everything type of deal. He looketh among his people with discernment. He discovereth the abilities of men, and employeth them according to their merit. What does that mean? He looketh among his people. He discovereth their abilities, and employeth them according to their merits.
Like you were saying earlier, be you. You were born and made to be you.
Mhm.
Do what's best for you, what you feel strongest at, most accomplished at. Let other people do what they can do.
And then the leader will say, you should be in this position because this is what you're good at.
Good at this.
Yeah. Everyone agree with that? His magistrates are just, his ministers are wise, and the favorite of his bosom deceiveth him not. What does that mean? That's number 7.
Say it again.
His magistrates are just, his ministers are wise, and the favorite of his bosom deceiveth him not.
All of the people around him are solid
Mm-hmm.
and trustworthy,
Mhm.
and they stand in their glory and their belief.
Mm-hmm.
They stand firm. So he feels like as long as the people around him are
Strong.
strong, right?
Mhm.
You have a strong circle around you.
Mhm.
There's no way you can fail.
Yeah. So his magistrates are just. His magi, his magicians, his judges are fair. His ministers are wise. So when you go seek counsel, you're not getting opinions from no dummies. You know what I mean? Like, it's well thought. It's not just making quick decisions because we want to. And then the favorite of his bosom deceiveth him not. When I read that, I think behind every strong man is an even greater woman. That's what I think. Because I don't think you can successfully be a leader of anyone if you can't even trust the person that you're with? And then do all this stress, blah, 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 and then you can't talk to no one.
Or if they ain't on top of that.
Yeah.
Of course.
How do we get in? Through the door.
Door?
You go through the door. So you use your ancient
Wait.
Kemetic knowledge.
Is this subtext?
Nah,
It's
nah,
like
nah.
in Harry Potter when they need that room, and it only appears to you. That's how you get in. You want to be in here.
Yeah, you gotta know somebody who knows somebody. Yeah, you gotta do this, use your ancient Kemetic Gnostic wisdom.
Walk sideways.
You gotta hold your ankh like a lantern, find the door, then you get in. Alright. He smileth on the arts, and they flourish. The sciences improve beneath the culture of his hand. What does that mean? He smileth on the arts, and they flourish. The sciences improve beneath the culture of his hand.
The more you practice things, the more you gain wisdom. The more things that you pick up interest in,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, you're cultivating self-sufficiency. Yeah, that's what I got.
Anyone else?
I agree. Cultivating growth.
Mm-hmm. When I see this, I agree, cultivating growth. When I see this, I think of like they're ending all the arts programs in the schools where our people go, which develops your brain. And then when you read the philosophy of the General Education Board, it says that they don't want to make us into painters, artists, musicians, none of that, because that develops a different part of your brain, which keeps our people stagnant. So if you're really about your people, you're going to promote, oh, you're a painter, paint the hell out of that. You did a great job, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, because that's important, because people's passions are important to them. So encourage them. Same thing, cultivating people. With the learned and ingenious, he delighteth himself. He kindleth in their breast emulation, and the glory of his kingdom is exalted by their labors. I think when I hear that part, the glory of the kingdom is exalted by their labors. The kingdom is not one person. The kingdom is the people. The state is the people. The government is the people. So if the people are good, then everything's good. Because everything's predicated on the people. Because without the people, nothing's happening. No buildings are being built. No mines are being built. Nothing. And that's very interesting to me, because you'll see a lot of our people around here say, I'm the king of this city. You didn't even take showers. What are you talking about? You can't teach nobody nothing. How are you the king of the city? How are you the king and there's a mayor?
Ali's asking for help.
Yeah, a lot of Ali's asking for help. How you Ali and you asking a Bay or an L for help when you supposed to be Ali? You're supposed to be telling us what to do.
I'm hearing it too now.
Yeah. How you Ali and you ain't telling us what to do?
Don't sound right.
Yeah, don't sound right. The spirit of the merchant who extendeth his commerce,
Sign it.
the skill of the farmer who enriches his lands, the ingenuity of the artists, the improvements of the scholar, all these he honoreth with his favor, or rewardeth with his bounty. He planteth new colonies, he buildeth strong ships, he openeth rivers for conveyance, he formeth harbors for safety, his people abound in riches, and the strength of his kingdom increaseth. That reminds me of when the prophet said, money, gold, silver, and commerce belong to the people, and the people alone. Because once the people have a better quality of life, the entire nation thrives. And then, don't be like Wakanda, and keep it all to yourself. It says he employeth new colonies, meaning you put other people on. Because if they're suffering, you're suffering. It don't matter how good you think you got it. If your people are suffering, then you don't got it that good. So let's not be like Wakanda. Let's be like the end of Wakanda, where they start doing outreach. He frameth his statutes with equity and wisdom. His subjects enjoy the fruits of their labor in security, meaning he ain't taxing the crap out of them, because that's their labor. Right? You do whatever you do, you get compensated. That's your labor. Their happiness consists of the observance of the law. He founded his judgments on the principles of mercy, but in the punishment of offenders he is strict and impartial. His ears are open to the complaints of his subjects. He restraineth the hands of the oppressors. He restraineth the hands of the oppressors. That's why we're going into mortgages right now, because that's one way that we're being oppressed. That's one way to get these Europeans off of our people's backs. And he delivereth them from their tyranny. His people therefore look up to him as a father, with reverence and love. They consider him as the guardian of all they enjoy. Their affection unto him begetteth in his breast of love of the public. The security of their happiness is the object of his care. No murmurs against him arise in their hearts. The machinations of his enemies endanger not the state. His subjects are faithful and firm in his cause. They stand in his defense as a wall of brass. The army of a tyrant fleeth before them, as chaff before the wind. Security and peace bless the dwellings of his people. In glory and strength encircles his throne forever. So now, the chapter on the peace. The chapter on the magistrate and subject tells you that the glory of the king is the welfare of the people, not just a position for you to be in. If you're not helping the people, then you do not merit or deserve, nor have you earned that position, and you should be removed immediately. So as soon as public servants stop serving the public, then they ain't public servants anymore. Title don't crap. This is what you do. That means something, right? So now, one of the things that we deal with is mortgages. The prophet said, by no means are the economic conditions of our people talked about compared to any other thing. I'm paraphrasing. He said it way more articulate than I just said it. Let me just read it. How about that? I'll just read it. I sound like an idiot. Listen to me. I sound dumb. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's just go to what he said. So if you got your notebooks out, and your pens, get them out. Because you have to study. Because when y'all study, we become stronger. And then we become an impenetrable force. What you mean we gotta get a mortgage? We all know what mortgage means. What you talking about? Get out of the circle, right? Let me scroll on down.
Where's that pen still for me?
You should have two of them. So I'll read what the prophet said. This is what Drali said. He said, "It is a sad weakness in us, after all, to oppose our fellow men for their religious beliefs. And if there are angels who record the sorrows of men as well as their sins, they certainly know how many and deep are the useless sorrows that spring forth from such opposition. Possibly love in time will cancel our ancient hatreds in this regard and prove that in mankind tolerance is better than unwarranted opposition. In connection with our religious aims and beliefs, we must promote economic security." Now, can you be secure in economics if you're getting kicked out of your house? No. "The preaching of economic security amongst us is by no means as widespread and intensive as the circumstances demand." Now, again, when we went downtown, our people were saying, normally when they see people out here, they're talking about religion. Nah, we're talking about law, because that's what's affecting us. Not really. We go to church all day, every day. But
Where does that get you?
How many of y'all been in this library prior to me inviting y'all here?
Never.
You see what I'm saying? That's a problem. How many of y'all been to a church? Yup. Right?
Never.
So, talking about economic security. So we already know, common sense, you can't be securing crap if you're being forced out of your home. So now we have to go into what a mortgage is, right? Because most people think in order to get a house, you have to have a mortgage. This is where going to European schools and learning about the European philosophy of their general education board, how it's not going to teach us crap, comes into play. So let's go to mortgage in the law book. This is Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition, which is right in this building, right in this law library, where all these Europeans be at, and some of these so-called black leaders be at too. Let's go to mortgage.
Question.
Yes.
this is accessible, we can.
This is public.
Open to the public.
This is public.
Whenever you want.
Yep,
Yep.
public.
You just gotta
Any-
check their, the schedule to make sure that the
Yeah.
building's open.
Yeah. Well, because during the month of August, they're closing until September. But other than that, they're open every day.
I thought it was just closing on Saturdays.
Yeah, just Saturdays.
You're probably right. Because they still gotta rob people.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, my bad. Where is it? LMNOP.
You are good.
I practice my ABCs.
What do you hit again to search in the computer?
Control F. LMNOP. Merit. Do. Oh, does someone want to get additional Black's Law dictionary? So, you know what they are? I'll show you. If you don't know, follow me. Unplug the wrong thing.
Everyone follow.
If you don't know where the law books are, just follow me and I'll show you. Because if I'm not here, you still have to know where these books are. Because you're supposed to be studying on your own.
I want to say it's on the second level,
Yeah.
on the right-hand side.
Yep. We're going on a trip on a favorite rocket ship. Zooming through the sky, little Einsteins. Look at these Einsteins. Look at these geniuses. Look at these Moors. We're learning about the nationality and birthright and an oppression. This is what we do. We don't gotta fight nobody. All we gotta do is fight for our rights. Yep. Indeed. Peace, everybody. I'm sorry for not reading the comments, but you know, you already know how it is. I thought I rotated it. Right here. This is where they are. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, just grab one.
I got the fifth, this is what I have at home.
Yeah, I have the fifth at home too. I have the fifth and the eighth at home. So also Valentine's is good. They don't have the fourth here
Okay,
because it's the best one.
that's it.
Valentine's is good. Bouvier's is good. I mean, they're all good.
Alright.
It's all information, you know what I mean? In the Quran it says Allah rejects those who reject knowledge. So don't reject any of these books. So just grab one. Cause
We're gonna take these down there.
yeah. So if you want one, just take one, and if not, just listen to me run my mouth. And then yeah. So that's where they are. We're gonna reference whatever one, but there's differences in them. So we're also gonna do a comparative analysis how they redact certain information.
Oh, nice.
That's why they don't have the fourth in here. So I brought my fourth from home so everyone could see. But yeah. These Moors in here. All this melanin in one room. It's dangerous. You know, does anyone have the time?
It is 10:23.
Okay, good. Because I think they said they close at 12 today. Ugh. Coolio. Cool. Everyone sit down and shut up.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's that kind of class?
Yes, this is that kind of class.
I'm leaving.
You know what I'm saying?
I will not.
All right, so thanks to you know, the master teachers, you know about etymology. Etymology is how you figure out what the true meaning of a word is. So when you're looking at the word mortgage, if you go to Black's Law Dictionary, third edition, sorry, you look up. I'm not even on the right page. If you look up mort, M-O-R-S, or M-O-R-T, it means death. So mort, the word mort in mortgage means death, or dead. Then when you go to gauge, gauge means pledge. So it's a compound word. Mortgage is a compound word. Then if you just read it, you'll see that it's not ownership of property. Here, I'll give this. Hold on. Before I go into that, I'm gonna go to the word. Where was it? M-O-R-T-U-U-M-V-A-D-I-U-M. Mortum vim. It says a dead pledge, a mortgage. A pledge with a profits or rents of a thing pledged are not applied to the payment of the debt. Does that make sense? All right. So now, I'll give this to Leon. This is Black's Law Dictionary 3rd edition. Since I got the 4th right in front of me. This is the book that they don't have in here. I'm gonna go to mortgage. All my pages are ripped. That's what I get. Teaching y'all. So mortgage. It says a debt by specialty. Can you own something and be in debt to it at the same time? No. So most of our people think if they get a mortgage, they're owning property, don't they? And then it means dead pledge. So instead of saying mortgage, let's just say dead pledge. So our people think once they get a dead pledge, they think they own something. Right? A debt by specialty, secured by a pledge of lands of which the legal ownership is vested in the creditor, and then the so-called banks will list themselves as the creditor. So the legal ownership is vested in them, with them. But they're really not the creditor. When you read the mortgage, you'll see who the creditor is. But of which in equity the debtor and those claiming under him remain the actual owners until debarred by judicial sentence or their own laches, or if you claim the estate. Right? The foregoing definitions are applicable to the common law conception of a mortgage, but in many states in modern times it is regarded as a mere lien and not as creating a title or estate. Did y'all hear that? So a mortgage does not create title or estate, which means what? It's not ownership of property, right? So our people will get into a 20-year mortgage or 30-year mortgage, 200,000 notes, and we're living paycheck to paycheck trying to pay that off, which means we have a lower quality of life compared to these Europeans, because I have right here proof that the governor of Rhode Island, corporate state of Rhode Island, the colony, discharged her mortgage, which means what? She has a better quality of life than we do, because these Europeans aren't living paycheck to paycheck like we are, because they know that a mortgage is a dead pledge, and they know that they can just discharge that so-called debt because it's not real money. So here is Gina Raimondo, the governor of Rhode Island. This is her discharge from City Hall, and I got it certified by them. So here's the document, one page. You can see where it says certified on the back. So all this stuff I'm going into, these Europeans know, and they apply it. You get what I'm saying? So you can kind of. Right now we're just speculating. We're kind of just learning about it. They're applying it. You know what I'm saying? They're applying this. And this was recorded April 23rd, 2012. They applied it. You know what I'm saying? And we're just now learning about it. So, knowing that a mortgage is not ownership of property, then if you were part of my class a few weeks ago when we went into quit rent deed, I went into how the University of Rhode Island found Quranic manuscripts that predate Columbus by at least 500 years. Now, when you say Quranic, you're saying Islam or Islamic, and when you say that, you're saying Moorish. So they found Moorish manuscripts that predate Columbus by at least 500 years, which means at least indigenous to this land, right? At least, right? Or we were here first, right? And let me just pass this around. This is from the University of Rhode Island. This ain't just. And it was Professor Ivan Yurisco, EvanYuriesco. So history and law must go together. Because if you don't know the difference between squatting and an adverse possession, and knowing that you were here first, then you would think that you're squatting. You wouldn't know that you were here first. So it's an adverse claim or adverse possession. Whereas they're feudal lords, meaning their claim could be argued because you were here first. That's why they needed to teach us that we're black and Indian from somewhere else, so we don't know where we're from, so we don't claim the land at our feet. Then they put mortgages on us and Indian titles, both of which are not ownership. So history and law must be taught together. Nationality is what determines your status. Your status is your mental competence. Tracking? All right. So, dealing with mortgage. So since we were here first, wouldn't that make us the creditor?
Right.
Then when you read the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, didn't the Europeans pay us to be here? So that's proof that we're the creditor, isn't it? So should we be paying them for anything? We're the creditor?
No.
So when you're dealing with trust law and you're dealing with contracts, grantor and creditor is the same. Debtor and administrator is the same. The reason why we're the secured party creditor here is because it's our land. It's our resources. That's what makes us the secured party creditor, not no UCC, nothing. It's our bloodline. Does that make sense? That is what our claim is rooted in. So when we tell these Europeans, we're not paying this mortgage, that's the law that we're going off of, our bloodline. There is no UCC, nothing that we need to follow. This is our land, not yours. I don't owe you nothing. Yes.
In order for Gina Raimondo, governor, to discharge her papers, did she have to use UCC something?
What they use is they use the corporate construct that they've created.
I understand.
That's what they use.
Yep.
So they don't claim the land.
Yep.
They're claiming something in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island don't exist.
And they're using the UCC process.
Yes.
But we, as Moors, don't.
We use the principles, we use the laws, the ancient laws associated with that. As an example, UCC 3-604 talks about a creditor can discharge any debt that they want. That principle is ancient. They just put it in the UCC, meaning this exists. But it already exists. Because if you're the creditor, right, my book, I'm the creditor because I wrote it. You're the debtor because you want to buy it from me. I can say, here, that's me discharging it. Here, take it. That's a discharge. Take it. Don't pay me nothing. That's a discharge. Just take it because I'm the creditor. I don't have to say, well, by UCC 3-604, I'm discharging. No, take it. You know what I'm saying?
And
That's why.
and that's where we need to stand, and
Yes.
where we need to understand and come from.
Yes.
Not from a UCC standpoint,
But we can
understanding the concept.
But if
of-
we study the UCCs, we can see how things are running. What are you looking at? Book?
No, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
If we study the UCC, we'll see, because it's based off our ancient stuff that we taught them. So why would we not study it? Because we're reading our stuff. We just need to know that it's ours. And we need to know that we're not subject to anything that they write. Because last time I checked, Rhode Island is a colony, and Providence was founded in 1636 and incorporated in 1832. So since it's a colony, and colonies are dependent on a host nation, and then the treaty says that Europeans were dependent on the Moors, then we're not part of their crap. Does that make sense? But they needed to make us think, yes.
Can you please repeat that?
Rhode Island is a colony. It's a European colony. When you look up the definition of a colony, it'll say a settlement depending on a host country or nation. That host nation is Morocco. You can find that in this book right here, Treaties of the United States. It'll go into the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the Europeans and us, whereas they got permission to be here because of us. Does that make sense? So since they got permission from us to be here, can we be citizens of that? Of anything that they have? Because it's our land, so you're new here. I'm not citizen of your stuff. I let you be here. If I'm a guest in your house, right? And then you let me move into your house, and I start saying, who said you gonna open up that fridge? It's your house.
Right.
Oh, you gotta pay me to open up that fridge now. That's exactly what they're doing. So, but we don't know that because they made us think that via the 14th Amendment, we're their citizens now, when it's really their property. And then when you read the Christian Black Codes of 1724, Article 22, it says blacks shall never own anything. Whether own their own industry, their own liberality, whatsoever, shall be the full property of their masters. That's where mortgages come in. That's where Indian titles come in. And that's where the strong name on the birth certificate that is not you comes in. And then we don't know that it's not us, so we transact business in that name, and they take everything. And then we perish because we don't know this information. Does that make sense? So it goes everywhere. But if we stick to the principle of this is our land, we're good everywhere, all
This is
around.
our house, we let you
Yeah.
come in and sleep here for the night.
Yeah.
We don't have to follow your rules.
And the
Our
treaty is
house.
evidence of that. That's why I passed around this right here, where the University of Rhode Island, which is where we are right now, admitted that they weren't the first ones here. They admitted it. So it's not like they're lying because they told you. It's just the black leaders and Indian leaders ain't exposed this to you. You know what I'm saying? Then when you go to this book right here, page 375, Ancient and Modern Britons by David McRitchie, 375. It'll say, I'll just skip some. The native races of New England were spoken of indifferently as Indians and Moors. Then we look up Moor, any dark-skinned person. Then when you go to the Secretary of State of Rhode Island, sos.ri.gov, Civics and Education, click on that tab. Want me to say that again? You writing that down?
Say that again.
Go to SOS, which means Secretary of State, dot, so period, ri.island.gov, so-called government. Once you go to that, you click on Civics and Education. Once you click on that, you click on Rhode Island History. Then the Europeans will admit the native inhabitants of present-day Rhode Island, which means it's not Rhode Island. It used to be something else, right? Present-day Rhode Island
Names are the same.
were mistakenly named Indians in quotation marks, which means what? We ain't Indian, and this ain't Rhode Island.
Mistakenly.
Then, when you study law and you look up jurisdiction, there's several types of jurisdiction: air, land, sea, subject matter, and persona. So they changed the name of the land to get territorial jurisdiction. Then, once you say I'm from Rhode Island, they get personam jurisdiction, meaning jurisdiction over your person. So they can tax you because you say you're a citizen of Rhode Island. They can say eminent domain over your estate because you say you're a citizen of Rhode Island. Or you say you're a resident. Res means a thing. Indent means identified. You're a thing identified within their corporation, within their colony, meaning you're their property. You get what I'm saying?
So what's the proper name to use?
Now you can answer. Here's a map.
The original name for this land we stand on.
No, not for the land, for self.
For self? What do you mean?
You
Your
just said,
your
you
bloodline?
said you know, let's say you're a citizen or a resident.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say?
Well, when they say citizen and resident, we are citizens, but we're not citizens of Rhode Island.
Yeah, exactly.
We're Moorish nationals.
All right.
When you say you're a national, that's saying citizenship, because citizenship is secondary. You know what I'm saying? So you just say what your nationality is.
So you say Morris.
Yeah, which is your bloodline. So you can't be a Rhode Islander because Rhode Island is not a bloodline. Does that make sense? Now we inhabit, we don't reside, we inhabit the Narragansett territory. Terra means land. So Rhode Island is not a territory because terra means land. The name of the land is right here on this map. If you want to pass this around for those of you who have not seen it. And the source from the book where I got it is on the back. I mean on the bottom.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
All right. The brother just said, you said that we're American. I have seen Morris American,
Mhm.
right? But using the word American, if it came from their species, right?
It didn't, because it didn't come from him.
Okay.
American,
Explain.
American is derived from Al-Moroccan. When you say Al-Moroccan, it phonetically sounds like American. If you say Al-Moroccan in American fast, it sounds the same. Then when you do research on the Incas in Chile, you'll see that they have a Moorish fez. Then if you look up the coat of arms for Haiti, Brazil, Colombia, Cuba,
Spain.
well, no, I'm talking about South America.
Okay.
A lot of these South American countries will have a red hat in their coat of arms, and it's called a Phrygian, P-R-H-Y-G-I-A-N, Phrygian hat. Phrygian is derived from Phrygia, which is a geographical landmass in present-day Turkey, who are the Ottomans, who are really Moors. They weren't called Ottomans until 1299, around that area. You know what I'm saying? Then when you study etymology, transliteration, which is the changing of letters in different languages, morphology, which is the same thing, permutation, which is the same thing, you'll see that if you drop all of the vowels in American and Moroccan, it's the same word. Because anciently, our language didn't have vowels. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So then when you look at the root word of Moor, M-O, and the root word of American, M-E, vowels are interchangeable. M-E and M-O in ancient Canaanite and Phoenician, which is Phoenician Canaanite, and Egyptian is M-U, which is water. So it's the same thing. And then we're known as the ancient sea-fretting people. Our body's 70% water, and we were the original people of this planet. So ain't no, this continent got named after no European because we've been here. And then I just said it, the native races of so-called New England were called Moors. And then when you read this book right here, it will say the original Egypt was all of North America. So nothing. And then when you look up the Renaissance, we taught them everything. So how do they name anything? If you teach yourself, can he then name you? Hell no. You get what I'm saying? All right.
We taught them everything,
Yeah,
even
we-
the spoken word.
Every-
How can they give us anything? How
It's
can they-
highlighted. I'll show you the page.
You know?
I'll show you the page. So page 25 of this book. 25. And then on the following pages.
Thank you.
So, knowing that, knowing transliteration, permutation, knowing that the Prime Minister of Turkey admitted that Muslims been here prior to Christopher Columbus, been here. When you read the works of Ibn van Sertima that came before Columbus, when you read the works of Ibn van Sertima again, with the Golden Age of the Moor, when you read the works of Horace Butler, When Rocks Cry Out, admitting that the Aztecs had braided hair like the Moors, had Moorish ornamentation, had Moorish garb, had Moorish architecture, Moorish everything. And then when you hear the Marine Corps hymn from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, and you look at the Moorish Empire, that's exactly where it is. So we've been here. We've been here, right? They needed to teach us something else so that they can do what they're doing to us today, placing mortgages on us, making our quality of life crappy while they administrate everything. Then they throw in diversionary arguments of racism when they're really committing genocide, so then we just run around in circles. As an example, when we traveled by, was that what you?
Yesterday?
Anyway,
Lost
another example. If Brown University, when the so-called Indians were there, they were just marching and praying, beating on a drum, saying this is their land. But they never put in an adverse claim to their own land. They just said it. They just said it was theirs and then left.
Never challenged.
And then they
what
left,
Brown
and then they
was.
abandoned it again. They just left it. These are my books. These are my books. These are my books. All right, peace. I really told you it was my books, though. I said it, but they never claimed it. No, this is
And they
mine.
never
This is mine.
challenged anything from Brown University saying that it was theirs.
No, it's just the leader went on TV and said, "I'm the chief of," and they never had the treaties, and they never. Well, first of all, states can't enter into treaties, so of course they don't have a treaty.
States can't. enter
States
into
can't.
treaties.
Per the Constitution, it says a random Constitution. But for those who don't read, they say, "Well, he's right. He's right. We need to support them. He's right. It's really the Indians' land, even though this ain't India." Then when you do research on the Narragansett tribe of Indians, they have a joint memorandum of understanding from 1978, which I have, between themselves and Rhode Island, which state that they're a corporation, not an indigenous tribe of people. And they agreed that European colonial laws would apply to them and their people on their land. But it ain't their land because this ain't India. So to the masses, it seems like they're putting up a fight, while the leader guys get a comfortable life because the followers are paying them. No, we don't got that.
Okay.
That's our ammo for later.
Okay.
We'll just hit people with this, then we'll drop the world on them with that,
Whip it out.
that?
Now, what is
with
that?
the additional proof. We'll do that off camera. Do that off
Yeah.
camera. Do that. We got some heat
I'll let
exposing
you
these
read
people.
it.
We got some fire exposing these
Don't read it
people.
out loud.
Excuse me. So, I'm trying to get back to mortgages now. Knowing that it's not ownership, and I know there's a lot of information, but it's on video, so watch it again and again and again and again and again until you get it, and then read. Let's go into a mortgage. We have a Moor who brought her mortgage that we can go into. I'm not going to put your private stuff on camera, but we're going to go into it, and then we'll pass it around so we can see. So I can't even really show anyone on camera what it is. There's too much private stuff on here. That's why if you want to know what's going down around here, you got to come.
Wow.
Right? There's a lot more letters that go to that.
Exposing himself. All right, so knowing that a mortgage is not ownership, knowing that a mortgage is a lien, knowing that if we get, let's say, I play you in poker, right? And then you win, and we agree that, the pot is 1,500, but I can't pay that. I'll say, we can get into a contract in mortgage where I pledge all my books. If I don't pay you consecutively over a course of whatever months this amount, then you can take my books as collateral, and then the payment's satisfied. That's what a mortgage is, right? So knowing that it's our land, they enter into these mortgages knowing that it's our land, knowing that we already own it, knowing that we're the creditor, and they list us as such, but we don't know. So we already own the house. We don't know it because we think we need to go to them to get one. They list us as the owner, and then we're paying them because we don't know. But they're accepting it as the donus, which is a gift. And I'm going to show you the mortgage that was put on her house unlawfully via a straw name, which corporations and dead entities can't own property. You get what I'm saying? Is everyone following? Remember, there's two types of persons in law: natural and artificial. That all capital letters name is an artificial being, which is saying that it owns anything. It can't own crap, because Walmart can't manage a house. Walmart can't clean a house. Walmart can't mow a lawn. Walmart's a corporation. Rhode Island can't sue you because Rhode Island don't exist. So, is it on the page? It is on the page.
Yeah,
All right, so this is an example. Hold on, can I hide anything? I won't be able to hide anything. All right, so
It's too much.
Hide the address.
it's
I mean, is
listed.
there
Well,
anything
it's
that I
just
should-
like, well, the loan number is listed. All these numbers are listed, which will link it to something. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just go over what it says, and I'll show y'all. Just you can't see it on the camera because it is what it is. So it has the loan number. Then it says the state of Rhode Island. Then it says the mortgage. Then it says FHA case number. MIN then has a number. MERS phone number. Then it says the mortgage security instrument is given on this date. The mortgage or is these people. So now we need to know what a mortgager is. Right? Because when we're dealing with this, remember, facts of law, law supersedes fact. Do we know what that means?
It sounds like it makes sense.
Law supersedes facts.
Why are we talking the details if you got to get to whether or not that was
The cause first.
lawful in the first place?
The cause first. So let's say you're trying to bring me to court saying I owe you something, right? Now you're dealing with law. The fact is I owe you something, right? Then we go to court and I say, well, show me the contract where I owe you anything. That's the issue of law. Before we go into how much I owe you, we go into where's the contract. That's the issue of law first. Because they can't summons me to court if there's no contract to begin with. If there's no valid claim to begin with. Ab initio, from the beginning. Show me where the debt was created from the beginning. So now, in this so-called mortgage, me and you and I, well, the straw name that's associated with us is listed as the mortgagor. So now we have to look up what a mortgagor is. MORTGAGOR. So again, if you want to learn more about law superseding fact, go to Corpus Juris Secundum, volume 88, subsection 39. The book is right here, so feel free to pass it around. So let's go to mortgager. Mortgagor. MORTGAGOR. Mortgager. One who, having all or some part of title to property, by written instrument pledges that property for some particular purpose, such as security for a debt. What does that mean? How much y'all think? Do y'all want to read it for yourself? Someone? Want me to read it again? Okay. So in this mortgage, which they're forcing on our people, which we're living paycheck to paycheck, thinking we need to pay it off because we think they're the creditor and they gave us anything. This is what we are listed as, the mortgager. Now I'm only saying we, but it's not really us. It's the straw name that we think is us. You know what I'm saying? So make that distinction. I'm only saying that for the sake of conversation, but know that there is a distinction and it is not you. But since they're playing like it is you, this is what the mortgager is. MORTGAGOR. This is Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Turn this your boy's heating up right now. Camera's frozen, so I can't even tell what it's looking at. One who, having all or some part of title to property, by written instrument, pledges that property for some particular case, such as security for a debt. They said the live is frozen. I can't really do anything about that. Let me end it. Yeah, they can hear me. I see comments popping up still, but it's frozen. But it says that the time is frozen. No, time's still going. So what does that mean? Yes.
The one who owns the property is using the property to, I guess, put up for debt.
Yeah. As
Tell them that you own the property.
yeah, they're telling you that it's yours. They're telling you that it's yours. You're listed as the mortgager, the one who owns the title. You're just putting the house as collateral to pay them. Pay them what? What did they give you? If it's your house, what did they give you? It's our land. Mortgager. The video is back. Great. Does that make sense? So,
Mortgager is owner of the land.
yes, which this straw name that they forced on her is saying is the owner. You're the owner.
So by their own contract.
By their own contract, she's the owner. So now we got to deal with foreclosure, right? Because this is what they hit our people with. They hit our people with foreclosure, but it's really abandonment because it's yours. You just didn't know. And then they say, well, you failed to make payment, which they're lying, and you think that you did, so you leave. That's abandonment, right? So foreclosure, what does that mean? Use etymology to break down what that means. First of all, do we know what a closure is? What is a closure?
The end, done.
The end. So the closure would be the signing of the contract. That's a closure. So what does for mean? Before. So after you sign the contract, can they do something before you sign the contract? After you signed it?
Semantics.
So they're hitting us with BS because we don't know how to read. So as an example, remember that poker game I was telling you about? The poker game is, I lost, I owe you $1,500 or whatever. And then I put a mortgage on, we're going into contractual agreements where I say, if I can't pay you, I'll just do all this stuff. I'll give you my books. You can foreclose and say, no, I want full payment right now. That's a foreclosure. Before we sign that this is collateral. That's a foreclosure. Now give me all my money now. That's a foreclosure. Not after we sign something. But since we don't know how to read, we don't know that for means before, and closure means after you sign something, they're just hitting us with semantic deceit. And since we don't know, we agree to what they say and then we leave. And then they avoid all karmic debt because ignorance of the law is no excuse, because the law begins with us, because the Creator, also known as your mom, gave you common sense. And the second you start denying yourself, you're an idiot. But we're trained to deny ourselves at an early age via their schools because it works in their benefit. That's why our children are acting all wild, because Allah, our moms, sent them here to rebel against this system. But since most of our people don't know that this system is in play, our children are just rebelling. And then since the parents don't even know, the parents can't guide them. So now our nation stays destroyed. That's perpetual. And then when you read, hold on, I'm gonna ring it in my ear.
Answer it. Answer it.
It's still going. Let me calm down. It's normally in the left one. When you read the Willie Lynch letter, that's exactly what it tells you. It talks about breeding backwards ass niggers, meaning dummies breeding with dummies. That's the projects, that's the ghettos, that's the reservations. So if you don't know, and I don't know, and we have a child, what's the chances of that child knowing? Slim to negative 1,000. Because the condition of the child reflects the condition of the mother. That is why the Masons wear our crown that you gave us with your head on it, your crescent moon, your star, and a sword through your head. Because when they suppress you, they suppress us. Because we come through you. We need to fix this. We need to fix this yesterday. Any questions? So, knowing that they do this crap to our people all the damn time, this is what we can ask them. It's called a writ in the nature of discovery. So any of these Europeans saying, oh, you owe us this, and we're about to foreclose on your house because you missed payments. This is what you can ask them. You can go to riseofthemoors.org, since you know the glory of the king's welfare of the people and their quality of life. Go to riseofthemoors.org, click on the writs tab, go down, it'll say example, foreclosure writ of discovery. Now I'm going to read it. If I can turn this camera around. So this is riseofthemoors.org. Scroll down. Alright, here's an example of what you can send to these Europeans, acting like you owe them anything when this is your land. So how you owe them anything if it's your land? That's like, you invite me to your house, I'm eating all your Hot Pockets, and I'm telling you to pay me. Meanwhile, you got no more Hot Pockets. Does that make sense? And you bought them. That don't make no sense.
Buy more and you gotta
Yeah, now you gotta buy more Hot Pockets and pay me in Jamal dollars, which only I can print. That ain't happening. So this is knowing about the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, and then if you read the American Constitutional Interpretation Second Edition by like 4 Europeans, I didn't bring the book, but on page 11 it'll say nowhere in the Constitution did it grant Congress the power to create anything like the Federal Reserve System or the FBI. Now you got to go back into history knowing that in 1861 there was a coup or an overthrow of the United States. Then you're dealing with the Secret Treaty of Verona. So write that down. Coup d'etat, 1861. A coup d'etat is an internal overthrow. So you can just put internal overthrow, or you can put coup d'etat. That's when they say Congress adjourned sine die, which means without day. So coup d'etat or internal overthrow, 1861. Then you can put a dash under that. When you're dealing with that, you're dealing with the Secret Treaty of Verona, which was put on the congressional record, 1822.
And they admitted that they was using it, right?
Yeah. Under that, reference President James Monroe in the Monroe Doctrine, because that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the Europeans here in treaty agreement with the Moors, knowing that other European powers were trying to come infiltrate and overthrow our union. That's what you're dealing with. And if you want to know more, you can get my book, Are You Confused About Law, on riseofthemoors.org. Because we went over this, I went over this on my other videos. I'm not going to do it right now because there's a lot of time on this. But you can get the book if you want to know. If you don't want to know, cool. But that's what we're dealing with. So, to deal with foreclosures, a writ in the nature of discovery, because then they become liable. Now they have to answer. If you send a letter to Rhode Island, can Rhode Island answer you? If you send a letter to Walmart, can Walmart answer you? But if you send a letter to Gina Raimondo, doing business as the governor of Rhode Island, then she has to answer. Letter to Bob Smith, CEO of Walmart.
Just to a person.
Someone just texted me where's class today. I don't know whose number this is. Hold on, let me respond to this. .org. Here's an example of what you can say to them. Insert name here, insert company. From your free national name, straw name, meaning in relation to this, right? And then in re, so in relation to, insert your trust name, because you always create a trust. Your family's assets, wealth, etc., labors, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So since they're talking to you from a corporation, you're not speaking to them as an individual. You're speaking to them as an administrator of this family's trust. Does that make sense? Estate, care of, then you put the mailing location of the so-called address that they have to the house that you inhabit, and the longitude and latitudinal coordinates, because we always have to bring it down to the earth, because we're on the planet. when I own nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Then you put the parcel ID, which you can get from the tax assessor at the city hall of the municipal city hall of your so-called area that they're branding something else. And the alleged loan number, whatever number they have listed on that mortgage, and the FHA number, whatever they have listed on that mortgage. Affidavit of fact, which means a declaration of fact, and discovery, which is a writ of right, because you're dealing with adverse possession because it is your right to do so because this is your land and not theirs. Then you put dear, you insert their name, John Smith or whatever, Roger Williams, whatever, in order to come to a peaceful resolution in regards to any alleged foreclosure or eviction notices or payment owed or whatever they say. Whatever they say, that's what you put. I'm exercising my constitutional and contractual rights to discovery on this matter. Any questions on that? Great. It must be fully disclosed that I, insert your free national name, that's where I am right here, am an Aboriginal and Indigenous Moorish American. That's putting your status on the record. Distinguished from and not to be held as surety for, hold on, this pop-up just popped up. So distinguished from and not to be held as surety for, insert the strong name, because that's how they're claiming ownership over everything, and we are offering our body, physical body, as surety. Does that make sense? So whatever they say that this straw has to pay for, you willingly agree that you're going to take on that debt. Just like you pledge your house as security for the security of that payment, you pledge your body as security for whatever they decree on that straw name unknowingly. But since you agree, it's not unlawful. It becomes legal. Because it's unlawful to force anyone to be a servant. But you can agree to be a servant. Because then there's no violation of divine law. You know what I'm saying? That's why in the Bible it says he has no power, at least what you give to him. That's a contract. That's an agreement. And then the Bible says, all the devil did was call. You're the dumbass who answered. I mean, don't say dumbass, but you're the one who answered. All right? I am the natural person who currently inhabits, don't say reside. Do not say, I mean, you can if you want to be another man's property. I would highly suggest you do not say you reside anywhere, because you ain't a thing. All right? And is occupying the living quarters corporately referred to as, insert your mailing location, land parcel ID, insert the parcel ID, which again you can get from the city tax assessor. Go to the city tax assessor's office at your city hall in an intelligent tone, and they'll be glad to render you a favorable reply. Like I said to you earlier, I'm not sure if we were on camera, but when we went down to City Hall, that European woman said, oh, you're looking for chain of title? They know what chain of title is. We went over that before too. Write down chain of title. So when you're dealing with this, remember the only way to own property is to have an allodial title. So is a mortgage a title? Is a deed of trust a title? So how are they saying chain of title and not showing you no titles? Then you would also insert the geographical location, longitude and latitude, which if you get a dictionary, an old dictionary in the back, they often have maps, and you can figure out what the longitude and latitude is there. Or you can just go to Google, go to maps, and then click on what's here, and then it'll give you the longitude and latitude, which we did before. Figure it out, right? So if you want to learn how to do longitude and latitude, look up my video that I did called Quit Rent, because I did it on there, so don't ask me again. I know, I've done it several times. I also have done it on the video, I can't remember. Continuing. I have received mailing communications from your agency regarding the alleged loan, because you still don't know what they gave you. What did they give you? If you're listed as the mortgager, meaning you hold the title to the property, what did they give you, right? The alleged loan, listed number, right? All law specific. Please mail to me the following certified and verified official copies of loan related documents, and answer the following questions so that I may make a physical inspection of said documents and answers to verify whether or not you or your agency has a valid claim or interest in my ancestral estate, meaning you've been here. So we always claim immemorial blood ties to this land because it is fact. You can't claim immemorial, which means beyond memory. So you can't claim immemorial blood ties to this land and then claim to be Indian, because that name was branded on us in 1492, which means it's not immemorial because you just remembered 1492. Because then when you look at the Olmec heads, ancient Olmecs, ancient Amexum, ancient America, big nose, big lips, just like you, wearing a fez and a tassel, just like me. That's immemorial. All right. Number 1, produce the original promissory note, front and back, associated with the loan from your agency to the borrower. Produce any allonge, bill of exchange, and or promissory note, front and back, complete with the affixes or allocations attached to the borrower's promissory note for endorsement. Produce all bookkeeping journal entries associated with the loan to the borrower, because they list themselves as the administrator, meaning they have all this information. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you're the administrator for your family, you have all the birth records of who's part of your family. Same thing. If you're the administrator of anything, you have all the records. So since they're claiming to be the administrator, show me what you got. Because if you're the administrator and I'm the beneficiary, you have to show me what you got. And if you're trying to force a contract, show me the contract. Right? Produce the deed of trust associated with the loan to the borrower. Clearly identify who the creditor, grantor, is, and the debtor, grantee, is. Does that make sense? So you clarify who is who. Because if I'm the grantor, how do I owe you something? If I'm the creditor, how do I owe you something? That's like you trying to buy my book, right? And then I'm going to pay you and give you the book.
I like how it works out.
Yeah, you do, but I don't. They love how that works out. Right? Produce the account number from which the money came to fund the check given to the borrower. Since they said they gave you anything, show me where you gave me anything. Go ahead and produce that. Certified. Go ahead and do that. Produce verification that the borrower's promissory note was a gift or dedonus to the lender from the borrower. Produce the name and the address of the current holder of the borrower's promissory note. Because they sell that. They sell your promise to them, to other people, knowing that our people don't know, knowing that if I sell this promissory note to you, I can say it's guaranteed these niggas gonna pay because they don't know shit. So you're gonna buy it. So you good. You pay me for secure payment because they're gonna pay you monthly because they're dumb. That's how they think. That's how they move. That's why they do what they do.
And you're reading from the writ that's on the website.
On risingmoors.org, yep. Also, produce the name and address of the lender's CPA and auditor for the period covering the execution. Produce a copy of their legal authority and bond number to do business in the state of, and it's red, so you put whatever state you claim that you're in, or they claim that you're in. Produce the bill of particulars and or receipt that proves that the loan was in fact lawful money, i.e. gold or silver coin, or anything of value. Because if I give you paper, what you doing with that? That's nothing of value. What are you doing? You can get that from Staples. Then you're dealing with, again, the Federal Reserve Bank and them stealing all the wealth. So now you have to go use their private commercial paper to pay things off because they created a monopoly, whereas I'm going to create all these Jamal dollars and your business, whatever mall you own, you agree you're only going to accept that. Now we're controlling the market. That's why the prophet said money, gold and silver, commerce belongs to the people and the people alone. Because they have a private monopoly over our lives, which we exert our energy for that private commercial paper. Therefore, they're controlling our energy, controlling our credit, and controlling what we can and cannot have. When credit is really your credibility, that's all it is. So if word on the street is Jamal don't pay his debts, no one's gonna loan me nothing. But if word on the street is Jamal always pays his stuff on time, that's credit. Not no 800 score, nothing. It's the word of the people. Y'all following? Great. Who is listed as the mortgager? Because if it's me, I don't owe you nothing, right? What was the original debt owed before the securing of the mortgage, i.e. pledging of the estate as collateral. You know what I'm saying? So in our poker situation, we agree that it was 1,500. That's the original debt. You know what I'm saying? So if there's no, then why am I securing my house for this? Especially if you can't prove that you gave me anything. Oh, you gave me paper? Well, since it's your private commercial paper, you print as much as you want. Go ahead and just print more. That's saying discharge that debt. Then you go to Title 12 of the United States Codes, subsection 411, write that down, which they tell you that since it's their private commercial paper, they owe the debt.
So Title 12.
Title 12,
Yeah, all fast.
sorry. Title 12 of the United States Code, subsection 411. Title 12 of the United States Code, subsection 411. Then, 411. Then, look up this current Congress, HJ 5404 of March 22nd, 2018, where the representative of Virginia, Representative Mooney, proposed a bill where they admitted that they caused the Great Depression. 5404, which you can go to congress.gov and look that up right now. And I got the documents in my binder. HJ 5404 of the current Congress, March 22nd, 2018, where the so-called congressmen, these European congressmen, admitted that they caused the Great Depression, 1913, 1933. And they know that they owe all debts because they stole all the gold and they gave us paper. So they owe all the debts because they can't force us to pay with anything but gold and silver per the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, and Article 1, Section 10. And right to the right. Does that make sense? Meaning I can't tell you, you have to pay me in rocks or Jamal dollars. Because Jamal dollars is private. So if you're going to pay me in Jamal dollars and I'm the only one who makes Jamal dollars, you're forever my slave. Because if you want to buy this book off of me and it's 5,000 Jamal dollars and I'm giving you one Jamal dollar a year, good luck getting this book. Good luck paying your rent. Good luck paying off your car. Good luck supporting your children. Good fucking luck. Excuse my language. That's how they're running shit here. That's genocide. That's what they're doing to us. Yes.
I recently looked up the history of the project that I grew up in, and it was conveniently built right before the Great Depression.
Conveniently.
This, and then they start to create the depression.
It's artificial.
Yeah, it's set up.
It's artificial.
They set people up
It was
into
a plan.
certain communities,
Yeah.
into certain cities, into certain blocks.
Yeah. That's why it's called projects. It's a project.
That's why the same people have the kids over and over
Yeah.
from this building, that
Yep.
building, because they put you
It's
there
perpetual.
knowing you got 3 kids, knowing she got 3
Yep.
kids, knowing your kids, their
Yep.
kids, same age, they're gonna hook up.
And they don't know nothing.
From
Yeah.
the projects,
From the
stay in the
projects,
projects,
yeah.
Knowing
keeping
that-
that hamster wheel going.
exactly.
Electricity is
Ex-
rent free, I mean, it's rent free and the rent is minimal.
And
Mhm.
they don't want no males in their life.
Yes.
No men allowed.
Brother has a question. Yes.
Could we hit them with the Clearfield doctrine with that?
All the time.
Okay, that's fine.
So Clearfield doctrine is telling you that governments descend to a level of a private corporation when asking for private commercial paper. Now, when you're dealing with that, you're dealing with the letter I showed you from the city tax collector, John A. Murphy, who's also the recorder of deeds. I tried to record something on their record. And I hit them with the Clearfield doctrine. He said, well, if you don't recognize this nation's currency, then you can't
Provide you with
file
a
your document
service
here.
from-
Which he's admitting that they're private, which means that's not the public record. Which means we need to create a public record because one don't exist.
It's true, it's true.
And I can show you the papers. Don't worry, we're gonna. Oh, don't worry. You following? So, dealing with this foreclosure thing again. Any other questions before I continue? So also again with that HJ 5404 in the Title 12 subsection 411, write down House Joint Resolution 192 or HJR 192. Or again, the so-called congressmen admit that there ain't no money and people don't own crap. So the reason why we're suffering again is because we have to go to them to get their money to pay their bills. Meanwhile, it's our land, so we don't own them nothing. But by us not knowing, we willingly work their jobs for their money and pay them, which is really not about payment. It's about them administering our land, us having a poor quality of life while they are rich on our land. Meanwhile, it's our resources. That's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, children, you're just plain rich, because everything is ours and everything's already paid for.
Not the dollar.
As soon as
the
they
wealth is
build
in
the house,
land.
they already paid the contractor, so it's already paid for.
The wealth is in the land. Not
They got the
dollar.
wood from you. It's your land. Part and parcel, it's your land. They got all the resources from your land. It's already paid for. That's why Rights of Indigenous People says we have the right to our land and resources back. You might want to read it. Then in the Rights of Indigenous, the state must implement plans to help increase our condition. They must take effective measures, and where appropriate, special measures, meaning they're paying for it. Yes? 30 minutes? All right. All right, so let's continue this since we're low on time, and we can continue after. So again, if you want the exclusive director's cut behind the scenes, you might want to come down here. So again, right, what was the original debt? What exactly is being borrowed from your agency? Because if I'm listed as the title holder, what am I borrowing from you? Right? This is simple questions. If the strong name is listed as the mortgager, i.e. the holder of the title to the property, what exactly is being borrowed from your agency? Number 16, does the word foreclosure mean before the closure? Then they have to answer. Number 17, is a closure the signing of an instrument or contract? That's another question. Another question, number 18, can a foreclosure be after a closure? And they have to answer you. So not only are you checkmating them, you're burning in the process. You're putting them in check pieces, so they can't. They're hoping, and they can't do nothing but yield. Does the word foreclosure mean before the closure? Yes, it does.
Last question is good.
Is a closure the signing of an instrument or contract? Can a foreclosure be executed after a closure? Then, number 19, can corporations / artificial persons own property or be real instruments? No, they cannot. Because only a hand can hold this. Walmart can't grow arms and pick this up and start writing shit. Number 20, what is your nationality? Because if you ain't a Moor, last time I checked, this ain't Europe, and you got pale skin, which means you're from Europe. I mean, you don't own crap here. So you have no claims here. Just like we can't go to China and start telling the Chinese people, well, you owe us something for this house. This is China, I'm Chinese, and you ain't from China, so leave. Then, this is my good faith attempt to clear up any misrepresentations or confusion concerning this matter before taking any further actions. A failure of the aforementioned entries or representatives to respond within the allotted 10 days or whatever amount of time you want to give them. Because if you ask me, Jamal, were you in the Marines? I can show you proof, and it's not going to take me 30 days to do it. Because if I was actually in it, then I have documentation that proves it, and it's not taking me 30 days unless I'm overseas somewhere and I got to come back and get the papers. So if they're sending something from their desk, they should be able to go to their drawer, take it out, and show you within less than a minute. You know what I'm saying? Written in the nature of discovery, deemed a dishonor of this notice and demand for foreclosure. Without animosity, without malice, my hand with a sound this day, I am filled in. Witness, 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 whatever you want, it's all on you. Then at the bottom, certified mail number and domestic return receipt. And that's what you send them. And then if they don't respond to any of that, if they can't prove that they gave you anything, then what do you owe them? Absolutely nothing. So if they fail to respond, that means it's a default notice and you don't owe them crap. So in contract law, in a court of equity, you win. You win. You won. They lose. Because the accuser, which they're saying you owe them something, they're the accuser, bears the burden of proof. So prove that you gave me anything. Prove that you gave me money. Prove that there's a debt. Prove that you own any of this. Prove it. Don't just say it. Prove it. Because hearsay evidence is inadmissible. I don't say I got court cases dismissed. I show you. Good? Any questions before we end? More.org.
Yeah, another one on the.
I also have a document from the IRS on there too, and for rent, and for like a regular default notice. For free.
Do you want to go over that other one? Before we have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
wrap
All right,
up?
so we got to do some excessive, some deep, we got to do some. Thank y'all for tuning in. More.org. Also, Grand Sheik, Cujo, Audible L from Caneland will be down here August 11th. Don't miss it. Be there or be square. Just be there. This is a historical event. The Grand Sheik is coming down here, schooling us onto some knowledge about to stimulate our pineal gland and just explode. Right? So be there August 11th. You can get the details on riseandmore.org. Everything about the class. There's no volume. What you mean there's no volume? You can't hear me? Anyway, riseandmore.org. Come be down here, Narragansett territory, corporately designated the state of Rhode Island, August 11th. Be here or be square.
Question?
10:30 a.m. All the information is on riseofthemoors.org. All the questions can be answered on riseofthemoors.org. What time, the place, who's coming, what's he going to be talking about. Also, bring some Federal Reserve notes if you want to get any of his literature, because he's bringing some.
And it's going to be in Riverside?
It's all on the website. So stop asking me questions. Peace, because they keep asking me questions.
It's gonna be in Riverside.
I'm trying to sign out, huh? What?
No.
All right, peace, everybody.